Hi, good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome you all and thank you for taking out time to attend this nasscom Awards Q&A session webinar. I'm Yash Vardan Singh from nasscom. I would like to apprise you that the nasscom GCC Awards application process has already started, and these awards stand as a hallmark of excellence, celebrating the remarkable achievements and transformative impact created by the global capability centers in India. This prestigious platform also recognizes the organizations and the leaders driving innovation, fostering leadership, and building ecosystems that set the benchmark in the industry. I am joined today by Mr. Anish Sahay, Deputy Director and Head GCC and BPM Initiatives at nasscom, Mr. Nikhil Malhotra, Vice President GCC Markets at Everest Group, and Ms. Arushi Gupta, Practice Director, GCC Markets at Everest Group. In today's discussion, we will focus on giving you an overview of the nasscom GCC Awards 2025 categories, help you understand the eligibility criteria, application process, guidelines, and key timelines you need to adhere to, followed by an open Q&A session to address all your queries. I request the audience to post the queries in the chat window, and we will be taking on those queries at the end of the session. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Anish Sahay to initiate the discussion.
Thank you, Yash, and good morning, all. So, as Yash mentioned, so this is the fifth edition of our NASSCOM GCC Award, and it's the third time that we are bringing in Everest Group as our strategic partner, who will help us administer the entire award process. This prestigious award process will culminate on 22nd of April in Hyderabad during the GCC summit, where the winners will be announced during the GCC summit. The nomination started on 4th of February, as all of you are aware, and the submission deadline is 5th of March. I would request everyone to treat this deadline as the final deadline and adhere to it, because there is no extensions likely beyond 5th of March. So in terms of uh, the communication channel, any queries, we have the GCC Awards 25 ID, which is where you can post your queries or specific questions, and that are getting answered periodically by our team. But this is in this Q&A, we will kind of also uh, go through some of the common queries and the common set of queries that have come across to us in some detail. But beyond that, it will also be available the FAQs, and the keep looking at the GCC Awards microsite. That's where all these queries and their answers will get updated on a periodic basis. If we feel the need that there are still a lot of questions coming coming, then we will do another webinar closer to the submission deadline. But till then, this channel, or the webinar channel, is the only mode of single channel communication between us and you. So please keep posting your queries there whenever you have one, and we will get back to you through the same channel. Now, let me also answer a few of the very, or clarify on some of the very common things. So, for example, who can participate, right? So this award is restricted to or open to only pure play GCCs. So when we say pure play GCCs, it's MNCs or any global organization headquartered in any geography, but operating out of India, and performing strategic functions, leveraging the knowledge base of India and the talent here, and bringing in cost and operational efficiencies through their GCC centers, are the ones who are eligible. Any service providers, consulting firms, while they would have partnered with a pure play GCCs, their entries can only be submitted through the GCC. No direct entries from any service provider or consulting firms will get entertained here. So I would request to take everyone to take note of that. Also, another thing on this is that when we when I talked about, this is the third time that we are partnering with the Everest Group. we have incorporated all the best practices and the learnings from the previous editions. So you will see a more streamlined process this time. You will see a lot of automation happening wherever possible in terms of segmentation and all. So to give a level playing field to different kind of GCCs who have come in India at different points of time and are at different stages of maturity, there are automatic segmentation which will happen based on the survey response that you will submit. So all those details is something that the Everest team here on the webinar will walk you through in detail in terms of the process. We'll have a sample walkthrough also of how to do a submission. So over to you, Nikhil and Arushi.
Thank you, Anish. And thank you for providing the context and establishing the ground rules. I mean, the nasscom GCC Awards is always a standout event, as it continues to offer valuable insights into the performance standards that GCCs continue to strive for. Now, at Everest Group, as Anish mentioned, we are excited to be partnering with nasscom for the third consecutive time on this special event, right? And for those of you who probably may not be as familiar with Everest Group, we are a research and advisory firm specializing in the IT BPM sector. Now, we have been tracking the GCC market for over 20 years, and we can confidently say that we have witnessed significant milestones this industry has achieved to enhance its positioning, right? Now, a few more details beyond what Anish mentioned, right? We are making a step changes to certain parts of the awards process, right? Some of them are more around how do we segment GCCs into three categories, which are striders, accelerators, spacers. We'll dive deeper into it in a couple of minutes. And lastly, as Anish mentioned, uh, the deadline for submission is 5th of March 2025, right? Now, one of the questions that has started coming up is, what are the award categories this time we have, right? Now, this year, we have 4 of them. Last year, we had 5, but basis a lot of feedback that we had received, right, and the themes that we have been tracking in the market, we decided to retain some of them, and we decided to add a few more for this edition. The first one is innovation with impact. Now, this is one of the most popular categories, and that's why we have retained it. It always attracts strong participation, and it's not a surprise, right? Because given how GCCs have become powerhouses for many GCCs have become powerhouses for enterprises, and driving the development of cutting edge solutions. The second category that we have is leadership and new capability specialization. This is another standout category from the previous edition. Now, this actually honors GCCs that have successfully broadened their capabilities in emerging areas, which are still in early stages of global scaling, but show immense potential for transformative impact. The third category, it's more around exemplary value adds through ecosystem collaborations. Now, this particular category celebrates influential global collaborations that are significantly, in some ways, advanced strategic enterprise initiatives. It focuses on how GCCs are breaking away from a do-it-yourself or a DIY mindset and leveraging the broader ecosystem. Now, when I say broader ecosystem, that could be startups, that could be academia, that could be service providers, right? All with the intent to strengthen the proposition. And finally, the last capability that we have, and again, last award category that we have this time is excellence in building talent for the future. Now, this is again a new category. This actually focuses on celebrating GCCs that have proactively enhanced their skilling initiatives, right, to start thinking about a future-ready workforce. Again, none all of the 4 categories are based on the feedback, the themes that we are capturing, and a forward-looking view of where we see this industry headed, right? Now, second part to it is, which is again influenced by the feedback that we have been receiving over the last couple of years, is can we try to do something different this year? Can we try to make sure that the GCCs are getting compared in a way that there is a level, even playing field for them, right? And using that feedback and working with the teams at nasscom and Everest Group, we decided to create 3 segments, right? These 3 segments are striders, accelerators, and pacers, right? For each of the award category, there will be winners who will be segmented. Say, for example, innovation with impact, you will have winners who would be striders, you would have winners who will be accelerators, and you will have winners who will be pacers, right? Now, a question that comes in is, how do I get to know which segment am I a part of, right? And the segmentation is actually based on a combination of factors. It's based on the tenure, which is when was the first GCC that was set up in India? Second is the size. How much is the overall headcount that you have in your GCCs in India? It could be in one GCC, it could be in multiple GCCs within India. Third part is enterprise proportion. What percentage of the global workforce reside in GCCs in India? And finally, locations in India, right? Are you present in one location? Are you present in two locations? Are you present in three, four? Those are the combination of parameters that we will be using to segment it. Another question that has started coming up is, do I know which segment am I a part of? At this stage, nobody gets to know what segments they're a part of. We get to know it once we have all of the submissions that have come in. What becomes important for GCCs is they are accurately and completely filling up the demographic details, which is towards the start of the survey. Now, you will see all of these questions among many other questions, which will be there in the survey. So please make sure that you're filling up the survey in a way that the details are accurate and they're complete, because it becomes important to segment them. So these are the categories and these are the segments that we are focusing on. We'll be happy to start taking questions in a couple of minutes. We will take them up and once we are done with the process. But we'll also be happy to take up questions online. With this, I'd like to bring in my colleague Arushi, who will walk you through the entire application process. Arushi, over to you.
Thanks, Nikhil. Hello, everyone. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the key application process in order to ensure that you have a clearer understanding of the process, like it basically covering areas of how to participate, what are some of the key timelines, and what you can expect as you move towards the summit, which is due to be taken place in April. Essentially, it's a 5-step process. Starting with, the first step is to download the guidebook as well as the FAQ documents. Both these documents, you'll be finding them on our nasscom official awards website. And I'll just request Nikhil to add the website link on the chat group for everyone's reference. These documents are essential because they help to detail the structure, to help you understand the detail of the structure of the application as well as the eligibility criteria. And I strongly recommend all the GCCs to read these materials before you even start the application process or draft your submissions, as they will help answer most of your queries. Next, you'll want to prepare your responses as well as a case study. Here, it's helpful to draft your responses in advance using the guidebook that you had downloaded. I wanted to notify here that each submission requires a case study, which is mandatory. So this case studies basically would help you focus on the initiatives that the GCCs have taken in the last 24 months. Make sure that you're highlighting the achievements that align with the awards criteria that you're applying for. So for example, if you're applying for the innovation with impact category, you need to showcase the innovation, the impact, as well as the challenges that you have been able to address using that capability in your organization. Next, it's about the submission of the application. This is done purely through our online survey platform. The link of the same is again available on our nasscom website. A few important notes that we need to highlight, I wanted to highlight here are, firstly, a GCC can apply for any number of the award categories. So there's no restriction as to if you would want to apply for just one category or you would want to apply for all the 4 categories. However, we are only accepting one application per award category from each GCC. You are free to complete your submissions in either one sitting altogether, or you can do that in multiple sittings using the save button feature. This means that you don't have to push and complete the application in one go. You can refine your inputs over time before finally hitting the submit button. Next step comes with the next step is all about the evaluations and the jury review. The jury selected would carefully evaluate the submissions as well as the case studies and finalize the winners. The jury will comprise of industry experts as well as leaders, ensuring that the judging process is both credible as well as transparent. Finally, we'll be announcing the GCCs, the winning GCCs at the nasscom summit, which is happening on 22nd of April in Hyderabad. This is where we will actually be celebrating your achievements as well as showcasing the best-in-class GCCs. Let me now help you in understanding what the questionnaire basically entails and walk you through the structure of the entire survey that the GCCs would be populating, and I'm happy to just present my screen now. I hope my screen is now up. This is the website, official website for nasscom, wherein you do see the three key buttons. How to apply button is basically wherein you'll be able to download an offline copy of the entire questionnaire guide. This guidebook has two components to it. Firstly, the guide covers the basic ground rules that Anish and Yash and Nikhil have just in the past few minutes they went about. So this basically covers aspects around what are the different award categories, how can you go about submitting your application, some of the instructions on how to probably, go about developing your case study. So that is for everyone's reference and it's an offline copy. The other one is the FAQ document. Again, these are some of the question and answers that over the years we have repeatedly been asked by the GCC. So we have documented some of these, and I would request everyone to go through this so that you get a clearer understanding of what the process is, and it might help get some of your questions cleared out upfront. The main button here is the Apply Now button. If you click on this, it will redirect you to our online survey platform. This survey is divided into three sets of questions. Firstly is the guidelines. Again, this is more about an overview of the award categories, some definitions around what are the different segments, the application closing date, instructions to keep in mind while you are developing your submission, and then a bit about the case study. And we'll get to in a couple of minutes. When you click on when you give your consent to the privacy policy, you will be redirected to the first set of questions, which is the demographic section. As Nikhil mentioned, this is a very critical section that every GCC needs to mandatorily fill. And this basically involves certain questions around what is the GCC name, what is your organization name, what is the scale, size, what are the different functions, locations where your India GCCs are located, what kind of functions are being delivered. For example, what is the industry of your parent organization, which needs to be answered here. And then there is a set of questions wherein every GCC should appoint a point of contact that the nasscom and Everest group team could ideally contact that person in case we find any gaps in your submission. And then it is followed up with the GCC head or the CEO details. And lastly, this is where the GCC can tick mark what exactly or which exactly is the award category that you would like to fill in the application for. As I mentioned before, either the GCC can fill out the application for one category in one sitting, or they can do it for all the four or all the three categories in multiple sittings. Once you select whichever category you would want to go about filling the nomination for, you can select that category and press the next button. Okay, I think so. Basically, let me actually put in some of these details. For example, your organization name is ABC. Your head count is probably around this figure. Then your GCC headcount figure is 3,000. India GCC headcount is approximately 1,000. Year of inception is 2015. Total number of GCC locations is 3. List of city is probably Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. Please make sure that you are filling the right details here, because this would really help us make the right segmentation for your organization. Key functions delivered, probably finance, procurement, and then HR. Herein, you need to select the industry of your organization and not for the GCC. So, for example, if you're an automotive industry company, that's wherein you need to add it here. Name could be their Spock's name, designation, comms head, phone number, and then the email address. Again, CEO names, CEO name, the designation, as well as the email address. Once you have logged in all of the information, mostly you will not get an error, and that's wherein the category that you have applied for, that page will open up. Now, this particular category or this particular page, it highlights about 20 to 25 questions varying upon what category you have been applying for. These questions are a mix of qualitative as well as quantitative questions. So you will see a mix of a lot of single select questions, multi-select, ranking, as well as some of the questions are also an open text field. Broadly, there are about 5 to 7 dimensions that we have categorized each set of the questions in. For example, for innovation with impact, we have categories as to about your innovation team. So helping us understand whether your innovation team is centralized, decentralized, what is the scale of this team, who does it report into. Then there are questions around what the innovation team has done in the last few years. So basically, helping us understand what is the innovation team strategy within the GCC. Some questions around what are the people capabilities, what are the operating model, tech capabilities that the innovation team is actually leveraging. Here, I really wanted to just notify everyone that there are 2 types of probably like teams in an organization. There would be a GCC team and then there would be an enterprise team. This entire question needs to be filled in from a perspective of what the innovation team in that particular India GCC is doing. Next, once you fill out all these questions, and that's wherein the offline copy of the guidebook really comes in handy, because these are some of the questions you would want to really think about while before really finalizing some of the answers that you do put in. At the very end of it, every GCC would get an option to submit their case study. Talking about the case study, so this case study could be approximately 5 pages long. So we do not recommend any organization to make it more than 5 pages. So these 5 pages should essentially cover about the innovation initiatives that your organization, that your GCC has taken in the last 24 months. So the 2-year time frame, whatever initiatives have been taken, what was the impact that was created. So this is where you get a free template to help us and the jury understand what was the impact that your GCC was able to make in that particular category. So we have about 5 pages that the GCC can submit. This essentially needs to be in a PDF format. So if you're please make sure that you are not submitting any PPTs or any Word documents. Please do convert them into a PDF format before submitting. Essentially, this needs to be about 25 MB large and not more than that. But yeah, mostly this is mandatory for everyone to fill out, and we have received in the past about 20-30 pages of case studies, and that really just it's not helpful that way. So we very strongly recommend that GCCs try to put in all that information in those 5 slides. I'll stop here, and I know that the GCCs would have a lot of different questions, and I guess we'll just open that up now for the GCCs.
Yeah. Arushi, as we do that, right? One question for you. Uh, am I allowed to skip any questions, or all the questions mandatory to be answered?
Thanks for the question. So Nikhil, every question is mandatory. So GCCs are not allowed. I mean, the survey will not let you skip any questions. So from all the 2025 questions, the demographics as well as the case study, everything needs to be mandatorily filled out.
Right. And I have another one. If you are going through the process and by mistake, I hit the submission button, what happens then?
Okay, so now this actually brings me to two different aspects to things. So in case you do, by mistake hit the submit button, I would encourage everyone to just write an email to our official email address mentioning the concern that has happened, and we'll make sure that we do not account for that particular entry in our backend, and we'll wait for your final entry. And when you make that entry, please send us another email saying that we have rectified or we have made a fresh entry so that we can ignore the other one. The second thing that I really want to mention is that there's a save button. And for that, if I can just bring up my screen once again, um, that's something I really wanted to show the GCC. So in case you are filling out a form and you have hit a snag during the form filling and you would want to not lose whatever inputs you have done, there's a save and continue later button here at the top right screen. Herein, if you click on here, you can add the email address. So essentially the Spock's email address, verify that email and save that, and you will get an email from Alchemor. It will be a unique email, unique link that you can click on, and it will again redirect you to your saved application, which you can rework on.
Great.
And I think we also need to highlight here that, we have that checks and balances that, if you have not completed your survey form, then it will not get submitted. But in case you have completed and, you have submitted and then you realize that you have made some mistakes, that's when what Arushi just spoke about is applicable.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Arushi, another question, right? Basis your last year experience and what we have this time. Uh, are GCCs allowed to only participate in one category, or can they have participation across multiple categories? I know you spoke about it, but reiterating that would be very helpful.
Sure, Nikhil. So as we had discussed, so there are 4 award categories. Every GCC can apply for either one category or all of the categories. And in case you would want to apply for all of the categories in one go, you are free to do that. Or in case you would want to apply for every category in one unique sitting, that is also applicable. But in that case, just make sure that your GCC organization name as well as the demographic section is all standardized across the different forms that you're filling out, because that will really help with the in the ease of during the evaluation process.
Got it. An interesting question that has come up. Can we submit any supporting documents as a part of appendix, since actual case study is restricted to 5 pages? So answer to this is definitely first prioritize your 5-pager case study. Make sure that you're capturing the right messages, you're highlighting the latest initiatives. If there are any supporting documents that you want to share, make sure that you send that at GCC at the ID that's already available. But focus more on the actual case study. Supporting documents can be appended. Make sure that the file size does not exceed a certain permissible limit, so that we receive it. Now,
Right. So, Yash, I think why don't you start taking up some of the questions? Some we have already answered in the chat window, but I still think if you can start one by one, then between us, we will answer all of them first.
Sure, Anish. So I think there are a lot of questions that have come up in the chat window. I can pick some of them. So I think one is the query which has come up is Are there any specific questionnaire for each category? Is there, or all at once we can submit nomination and case study would be there for a further collaboration or follow up for more information? So primarily they're asking, the question is focusing on, is there a questionnaire specific to each category or not? Or there will be a follow up nomination process thereafter?
Right.
So
Anish, why don't you go
go
ahead?
ahead, Nikhil. No, go ahead, Nikhil.
I'll take up the first part. The questionnaires are specific to each category. The demographic or the organization details that Arushi had walked you through, that's one time. But as you click on multiple categories, you will see a very separate set of questions coming in for each of the categories. Uh,
Right. So essentially, just to make it even more clearer, the questionnaire will come to you based on the category that you select. So if you have selected one category, you will get a questionnaire only for that one, pertaining to that one category. If you are selecting all four, then all four category questions or survey questions will appear, and submission will happen at one go.
I just wanted to add here that the questionnaires for every category will appear in a sequential manner. So, in case somebody just opens up and sees that, okay, just one questionnaire has popped up, it's because you need to fill out that questionnaire first before you get go ahead and are able to fill out the questionnaires for the others. So, it will happen in a sequential manner.
Sure. So next question up is that can we apply for, obviously we can apply for multiple categories, but do we have to make the submissions one by one?
I think we already answered that. So submission happens in one go, although you will, and like Arushi mentioned, all the category questions will come in a sequential way. Whichever you have selected will appear, which you have not selected will not appear, but submission happens in one go.
Sure. So next question we have, can we submit any supporting documents as a part of appendix since actual case study is restricted to 5 pages?
I think Nikhil already covered that previously, so we can go to the next one.
Sure. So the next question is how we can submit a testimonial or demonstration video. Does the recommended 5-slide PDF submission includes the title/end slides?
Yes, so we have accounted for like one additional slide as a probably like a section divider within the whole deck of 5 slides. In case you have any more testimonials or any more appendix, slides that you would want to give. If in case it's very critical and it substantiates what initiative you have been talking about, then definitely sure you can share that across on our official email ID that we have provided. But that really needs to be aligned to what the initiative that you are talking about while filling out the entire survey questionnaire as well as the case study. I hope that helps.
Sure. Thanks, Arushi. And another important question which has come up is that suppose applicant doesn't had there's a mandatory field and the applicant doesn't have the data for the same. So what is our recommendation for it? So whether to skip it or maybe put it as a low priority. So what is the best way forward?
Right. And that's a very relevant question, Yash. The way we have structured the whole questionnaire is, and we understand that there may be certain areas wherein the GCCs may not necessarily have all the relevant details. So we have a limited, or say it can be a limited or a not applicable option already there. So make sure that you end up responding that particular option for those areas where you may not necessarily have any tracking done. If there is any clarity that you may need on around questions, as Anish mentioned, we will do another webinar around what are the different questions that you may have on the questionnaire itself. But there are certain areas where we have created those fields to ensure that there is an option of NA or a limited impact, ownership, adoption there.
Sure. So there's another question on follow-up question, Nikhil, which has come up. How many awards will be given up per category?
How many awards will be given for category? That's an interesting one. Again, it depends on how the submissions are, and it also depends on how the jury views it. Traditionally, and again, this is traditionally, this may not necessarily set the same tone for this time. For each category, we've had 6 to 8 awards, 6 to 8 winners actually per category. But then again, it depends on the participation that we have. It depends on the nominations that have been submitted this time. So there's not a fixed number, but yes, naturally, since some of the categories we expect are more quite popular, we may end up having definitely a very stringent criteria. Second thing that I also wanted to highlight that the awards will now be submitted per the different segments that we have this time. So that actual number may actually look different from what it has been last year. It may be similar, but it all depends on the submissions we receive.
I would like to add here to what Nikhil already said. So traditionally and even now, NASSCOM GCC Award, the purpose of it is to showcase the best and the excellence that each of the GCCs have achieved to the entire community or to the entire tech world. So it's a platform to give you the visibility and to celebrate the excellence that has been created. So while there will be, a set of winners in each category, which will be announced during the awards night, but we do publish a compendium post the award, and all the best entries that the judges or the jury would have selected would get a space on that or would be highlighted in that compendium. So I think everyone gets a fair chance in terms of getting their case study or their story out to the entire world. The winners are, the ones that the jury felt are the top ones and are kind of celebrated during the award night.
Thank you, Anish.
So we have another question that has come up in the chat window that is focusing primarily on the size, the video size limit, which as an additional testimonial document the applicants can share. So is there a size of that video which can be shared?
On that particular question, any
Yes.
supporting documents that you're sharing, make sure that the file size is 25 MB. If in case you want to embed a link, make sure that you highlight that link, right? If in case the file size is big, because at times we will not be able to receive that video recording. So share that link with us, which is accessible. But
Sure. There's another important question that has come up, Nikhil and Arushi and the team. Will there be any feedback for the unselected GCCs?
that's a very,
Okay.
Anish, you want to take that up? Yeah.
Yeah. So we do not provide any kind of a feedback. Like I said, the idea here is to gather the best of the GCC world and then put it out there for everyone to then have a view on of it. So we do not provide feedbacks to any, or we do not also entertain any questions or queries regarding the final verdict that the jury has given. That is non-negotiable.
And I think other questions also popping up. One final query is, are the innovations shared or showcased to government applicable in this format?
So it has to fit into one of the specified categories. If it, like Nikhil and Arushi did talk about the different categories and which will apply to it. So if you're fitting into that, it doesn't matter whether it was for a government or whether it was like where it was applicable. I think applicability is not the question. The fitability to the category or what we want to celebrate there is what is more important. Nikhil, do you want to add to that?
Yes. And just extending on to that point, all the submissions that you share with us are strictly with NASSCOM and Everest Group. No details are shared with government. I can understand that there are certain details that get shared as part of submissions, but ensure that none of that information goes outside of this. So we make sure that the IPs that you end up generating and sharing are sort of governed by strict data guardrails that we have established.
So Yash, I see some of the questions that we have not yet covered, the unique ones, which probably we have not yet covered. So let me highlight some of them. So there is one question around, what would be the sequence and flow of the case study or the supporting document? Does it necessarily have to be in the same sequence as the award categories?
Okay, yeah, I think that's a very relevant one. I think the focus of the case study is mostly around what are some of the latest initiatives in the last, or when I say latest, 24 months is what you're really focused on. You can definitely have capture some of the details around these things, but what is also interesting to see is what exactly is the work that you have really done in that space, because that's where we get to know more about how much focus has been in creating impact there. Also, make sure that you're also capturing the outcomes and impacts, because that helps understand how much progress you have made in that particular area.
Right. Then there is a query, will this presentation be shared? So the answer is yes. The recording as well as the key questions, we will kind of club it together to avoid any repetition. But all these queries that we are discussing today will get updated on the FAQ document and will be posted back on the website for everyone to refer back to. And also the video recording of this webinar will be available by end of the day today on the platform. There's another question which asks, so let me read this out. The last category says leadership in new capability specialization, recognizing GCCs that have successfully expanded capabilities in emerging areas, not yet scaled globally. This category recognizes GCCs that have successfully built and expanded capabilities in emerging areas, often those that do not exist at scale within or other parts of the global enterprise. We are a mature GCC and our capabilities are scaled globally. Do we not qualify to enter this category?
I'll give a straight answer. Yes, you are qualified for this category.
And the answer is because we are doing the segmentation. So even within the matured, segment, this category is applicable, and you will be evaluated against the more matured GCCs, not the ones who have just started. Okay, then
There's one,
I
Anish,
think.
if I may read. Can we get a sample submission or last year's winning submissions for our reference?
So I think that is already there on the website. Arushi or Yash, if you can share the screen once and we will show them the place where it is. One of you please share the screen.
Sure.
So the last year winners compendium is available on the, so go back to the site, please, the website, awards website. So last year winners compendium is available there, and you can refer to those, but that's just an indicative one. We will follow the format that we specified, 5 pages at the most and all. Yeah, so if you look at, just hold on here. So how to apply, you have a step by step, while Arushi walked you through and we walked you through that process, but that process is available here as well. FAQs is available at answer to the key queries that if you click, then you will go there. Further going down, Arushi, further down. So this is yeah. So last year winners are here. Going further down. Just after this, yeah, learn more about the winners. So if you click on this, it will download a PDF for you, which has all the winners from the last year. Okay. And as we progress, in I'll say in 1 week's time, the website will start showing this year's jury details also. What you are seeing right now is the past jury, but that will get updated very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This point has been covered, but Nikhil and Arushi, if you can reiterate, how many submissions per category and how many categories can you submit? If that can just be reiterated, please.
Arushi, do you want to take that up?
Yeah, sure. So a GCC is allowed to submit only one application per award category. but there's no number as to if you can just apply for one category. So it's not that you can just apply for innovation for impact for innovation category and not for the future skilling talent category. You can apply for one category, two, three, or all four categories, but just maintain one application per award category. If that's not the case, then there are chances that that organization may get it will get disqualified if we do not get that clarity that one of the applications needs to not be not we do not need to consider one of the applications. So just one application per award category, no limit on how many categories you apply for. So GCC can at max apply for 4 award categories, 4 applications.
Yeah. And I'll just add one more point to that is that uh, if you have submitted multiple entries for the same category, then the one that we received, the first entry that we received is what we will consider. We will not even look at the second, third, or the n numbers of that you have submitted. So that's how we will take it.
So another question which is still open, Anish and team, is there an NDA between parties?
Okay, so like Nikhil had mentioned in response to one of the queries earlier, we will keep all the data and everything strictly confidential between the parties involved. So, what we publish is what you allow us to publish in the compendium in the form of the case study that you have submitted. Beyond that, any data point, any things that if we might have come back to you for some specific queries or additional details that jury might need, but that would not be shared with any other GCCs or will not be used for any other purpose. But if there is any specific requirement from your organization to have a NDA, so there is an NDA signed between Everest Group and nasscom, which ensures that all your data remains confidential and is not utilized for any other purposes. So that covers it. But if there is any specific requirement at your end where you need to have an NDA, then you can reach out to us through the same channel or the GCC Awards, post that query, and then we will take it up on a case-to-case basis.
Yes, please. So there's another query which has come up. Professional services companies that have dual model in-house and third party. Can you help us explain more on this?
So like I mentioned, who can apply? It's only for the pure play GCCs. So any of your GCCs, if you are serving third party customers or clients, then you are not a pure play GCC by the definition of what we have specified. So in that case, you would not be eligible, or you will not be your submission would not be considered. Having said that, if you have provided a service to a customer or a client who's now operating a GCC, but you want to showcase that you can talk to your customer and service, and if they are a GCC and if they are submitting and highlighting your name, we do not have an issue with that.
Sure. I think we don't have any other open questions left in the window.
So maybe we can just check if anyone has raised their hand or anything in the last 10 minutes, and then try to take those specific questions.
Sure. I think most of the people who had raised hand, we have already answered their queries in the Q&A window.
Okay, so maybe anyone, if you have any specific query, please raise your hand and we'll try to address that in the last 10 minutes. Now that we are.
Yes, so we have Bhavna. I'll just allow her to talk. Hi, Bhavna, you can pose your query.
Thank you, Yash. I'm Bhavna Pal from Nielsen IQ. My question to the panelists is, for example, if you're going for the innovation category, right, and there is a decentralized team, then there are multiple teams working on innovation, right? So, how in the flow we can fit the bill for all of them? Like, can we do one paragraph on them and then probably put out the results which they've produced in last 2 years? How exactly the flow will look like in one submission?
So, Bhavna, if I may ask you, so you are saying that you know, uh, when you're saying innovation, I'm assuming here that you are talking when you have multiple innovations to
Yes, yes,
showcase. Is
yes,
that
yes.
the case?
That is the
Okay.
case.
Okay. In that case, like we were reiterating earlier, I think you will have to take an internal call. If you have 4, 5, 10 different innovations to showcase, you will have to internally evaluate and say which is the best one to showcase, and then put that as an entry. Because within a category, like we said, we'll allow only one submission per company or per organization.
Sure. So, Anish, it's going to be just one innovation. That's what you're saying, right? It can't be a
Yes.
compendium of four, which has impacted the brand. Got it. Got it.
See, if it is an interrelated one with,
Yeah.
then it's a different story. But if it is different innovation, different say functions or different impact, then in that case you have to choose internally which is the best one that you want to put for the award, and that is what we'll consider.
Sure. Thank you, Anish, for your answer.
Welcome.
So next we have Ms. Koel. I'll just allow her to speak. Yes, Koel, you can go ahead with your query. Hello.
Koel, you can go ahead with your question now.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
go
can.
ahead.
So, when is the last date for submitting for this? And uh, will we get the presentation templates or not for these each of these categories? And can we go for multiple categories or not? Yeah.
So, Koel, you have three parts to the question. So the first is the submission deadline, which is 5th of March, which is there on the site as well as what we have reiterated. Second, in terms of the template, we have not specified a template. We have just given a generic guideline on how long, like 5 pages, and it has to be in the PDF format. It cannot exceed 25 MB, size limit. So those are the generic. We are not specifying a template so that because it gives you the freedom to showcase your case study the way you want to do it, right? And the third part of it was you had three, so two I answered. What was the third part?
The third part is, can we apply for multiple categories? Is there any eligibility criteria like for any specific category? Because we have completed 5 years of journey over here. So yeah, that is the reason why I'm asking.
Okay, so yes, this I think we have covered multiple times here, and as well as specified in our guidebook and the details there. One nomination per category per organization is what is allowed. If you have multiple contenders within the organization, you will have to go through your internal process to to select the best of your organization entries and then submit that one entry to the award process. If you submit multiples like we specified earlier, we will consider the first entry that has come to us. We will not look at the second, third, or n number of entries that you give. And the other part is because automatically there will be a segmentation and there will be a level playing field within you based on the maturity level. So automatically that will happen, that based on your maturity level, you will be either a pacer or you will fall into one, and within that category you will be eligible to enter all the 4 award categories, but one nomination per category.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Kual.
Hmm.
So I think we can take one more query. We have another attendee who has raised the hand. 1 minute. I'll just allow this. Hello. Please go ahead and raise your query.
Hi, this is Christina from Lumen. My question is around the categorization that you mentioned, that is striders, accelerators, and pacers, right? So once you do the segmentation, will the submissions be vetted against that particular segment, or will it be across the segment? Because my understanding is that some of these, for example, accelerators, do they compete with other accelerators or do they compete with pacers? Thank you.
Yeah. Anish, can I take that up?
Yeah.
Sure. Very valid question, Christina. The overall goal here was to ensure that there is a level playing field. We understand GCCs are at different stages of evolution, growing maturity. So striders compete with striders, accelerators compete with accelerators, pacers compete with pacers within their, right, for across each categories.
Right. Thanks, Nikhil. That was my question. It's answered now.
And we have Mr. Mohit also who has raised his hand. I'll just allow him to speak as well. Yes, Mr. Mohit.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Mohit from Equifax. So question is like, Anish, you clarified that one example under one category, but imagine we have small incremental innovations that are actually impacting the enterprise. And if we could fit in multiple case studies in those 4 pages, would that be allowed? Rather than having a very big innovation, we could have similar impact with multiple innovation case studies.
Yeah. Thank you, Mohit, for your query. I think we have highlighted that we are trying to celebrate the innovations which are creating big impact, right? And we do we are aware of the fact that it's the small incremental that makes that big impact at many a times. But if it is related to one particular business function or area where over a period of time, taking out smaller, it has now reached to a big impact in terms of saving or improvement or whatever, then I think still is one end result is one, or end innovation is still one. So then, you can tell us the story in a good way of the whole increments. But if you are saying that, I did one innovation in one function, another innovation in another function, that's where I again reiterate that you will have to then decide which is the story that you want to showcase or to be highlighted to the GCC community. Nikhil, Arushi, if you want to add anything, please go
I'll
ahead.
just add one more point to what Anish mentioned. You also have to look at how innovation is in your organization. Is it like an event where you're doing it at a project level? Is it like a core capability, right? I think that would be another way to approach some of this as well. And it's clearly calls out in the guidebook as well that we are looking at innovation as a core capability as part of the questionnaire and as part of the case study submissions that we expect.
Okay. Thanks, Nikhil. Thanks, Anish.
Thank you, Mohit.
Sure. I think I don't see any other raised hand in the attendee section. And we are good with the Q&As as well.
Thank you, Yash. I would take this opportunity to thank everyone who have participated in today's webinar, and also to our partners from Everest Group, Nikhil and Arushi. Thank you so much for joining us today and helping us answer all the queries. Like we said earlier, any follow-up queries, any questions that you have, please feel free to post them through the GCC Awards 25 email ID, which is available on the website as well. And periodically we will try, if we see there is some unique questions or a new question, we will answer them, and we'll also update the FAQ document with those, so that everyone has a awareness of those queries or those questions, or what answers we have given. And last but not the least, towards closer to the submission deadline, if we see there is or if we feel there is a need for another webinar, then we will schedule that, and we will give ample amount of time for everyone to register and attend that. But till then, I encourage everyone to participate in this. We look forward to seeing all of you in our GCC summit on 22nd and 23rd April in Hyderabad. Thank you so much for attending today. Nikhil, Arushi, any last words from your end?
Thank you so much, Anish, Yash, Priya, for having us over here, and thank you to all the attendees for making this session interactive and engaging. We hope we answered your questions, and in case if you have any follow-up questions, please mail us. Yash has already shared the email ID on the chat group. So look forward to having a great event, and yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Great.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.